B-side is back.
Too long, my friend.
It's been a minute.
Too long.
Been a long minute.
Was our last episode Mr. Zamir?
Maybe that's why.
We need a little break.
It's been we had to recover. Nothing like a gallon of vodka at 9:45 in the morning.
Yep. Shot after shot.
Breaking bread.
It was only 3 or 4 shots, but you line the stomach with bread, as he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vodka for breakfast.
It just eases the guilt is what that bread does. It doesn't have therapeutic value. Maybe it does. I don't know. We're back, though. I'm getting back to basics, too, here in 2026. Because with Mr. Goda, we came in. Because, music is like bread, right? It is life. None of this Iggy Pop Detroit stuff. We're going right back to the Lou. In 2026, I thought, you know what? Let's kick it off a little rock and roll. And probably one of the greatest rock and roll band names ever, right here out of the Lou.
What is it?
Jesus Christ Supercar.
I gotta love a pun. Gotta love a pun.
3 fellas, Southside. Good dudes. You can find them down on Cherokee often.
Still here? Still playing?
Yeah, actually, I just saw the Sovereign, the new venue. We can see it out the window here.
Really?
The one right across the street there. Sovereign's a new music venue.
Look at that.
1,000 cap. Another one of the Kranzberg,
Amazing.
Put their thumbprint on it. 314 Day.
Yep.
Jesus Christ Supercar is on the bill right around the corner.
I love it.
It's a 3-piece band, too. Old school, late 80s, early 90s, like pop rock.
Yeah.
A little speed to it. Check them out.
Really good.
If for nothing else, their merches.
And I'm excited about the venue. God, we have some good venues.
Yeah.
Love to see them hanging on.
Did you see the, speaking of venues.
Plus the Kranzbergs, too.
I think you might have sent it to me. It was, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Lo-Fi, STL. Oh boy that does those. He did the short mini documentary about the death of Mississippi Nights.
I did send it to you.
Did?
I don't know who.
Bill Streeter.
Yeah, Bill Streeter. Yep.
It's one of those things that I liked it because obviously I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
As a kid in the 80s, and then obviously 90s when I could legally go in there. Yeah. Even more time.
Yeah.
It was one of those venues that you just got it.
Why was it so irreplaceable?
I don't know. I think
why the lightning just didn't strike twice. People still talk about it constantly.
I think it's one of those things that you can kind of if you want to nerd out on it, break down into root cause. Yeah. Timing. Yeah. Size. I think it was 700 or 800 cap. So it's less than half the size of the pageant. Yeah. But big enough to where you can get national.
In the video, wasn't they were talking about it wasn't like it was that technologically advanced. It wasn't. Apparently, it was hot as hell on stage. It wasn't. But it was just something about it. Just had that.
Had sight lines.
Had the magic.
Well, also, the landing at the time was a thing. Yeah. And not just a geographical location. Right? Yeah. From, I hate to say it, Spaghetti Factory. Yeah. Sundeckers, Morgan Street, on and on and on. What was the Kennedy's? Yeah. Remember Kennedy's? Mm-hmm. Pale Divine. Yeah. Where Richard Fortus cut his teeth.
God, where did it all? Why?
It just poof, went away. The other thing though is the music industry at the time was really kind of this coming out of subpar 80s in a lot of people's opinion. Yeah. Right? Because you're going into the early 90s. Obviously, is grunge, radio. Well, The Point pops up on local airwaves. Yeah. Wes Aaron. Or Les Aaron? Les or Wes?
105.7 The Point?
Yeah. Sure. That was whenever it originated. Yeah. So they were pulling in. And also, what was really weird at the time, WSIE, right? From SIUE.
SIUE? Yeah, sure.
They changed their format. Because I was an intern my senior year of high school. They went from college rock to jazz. So, which I don't know how that helped Mississippi Nights.
Probably not.
I don't think it did. But anyway, long story short, Sovereign, new place.
All right.
Check it out.
For sure.
How was the holidays, by the way?
It was great. I had 13 in from out of town, and it was awesome.
Did they all make it out alive?
They all made it out alive. Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
Would you do it again?
Still recovering a little bit. You can hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would absolutely do it again. And you know, lot of food, a lot of eating.
What's the go-to?
A lot of eating.
Because like my wife's family is Italian. That's the
Yeah.
the root. So
they have to go. Yeah. So it's California and DC. And then they all have to go to the same rotation of places. So they got to do
avocado toast for breakfast.
They got to do Antonino's.
They
got to do Ted Drew's. They got to do they got to do the Straub's chicken salad. They got to do it all. So they got to do My Lee Faux Grand. They got to do St. Louis Vietnamese. Junior League sweet rolls are a thing. I don't know if you've had those.
That's new to me.
The St. Louisans in Straub's, Annie Gunn's, and a few stores, you can get these Junior League sweet rolls, and they're made special here in St. Louis, and they're like unbelievable.
Is it more or less special than a St. Paul sandwich?
Like that. Yeah, like that. But very, very good. Makes a good gift too. I threw in a new one though. I threw in Sam's Steak. Not Sam's. I threw in a new steakhouse on. Yeah, what's the matter with me?
So memorable.
Yeah,
I forgot its name.
So, Tucker's. Excuse me. I threw in Tucker's. Threw Tucker's into the mix. So. Well, or you can still get a steak that's not, $400.
Soulard or Manchester?
Good question. We did Manchester. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
But it was.
It was not Fleming's.
It was not Fleming's. So, yeah, they're normally a Chris's with a K on Lindbergh, but we did. Oh, but in Ladue, they're big fans of. Great big fans of today. What is up with me? Sportsman's Park.
Oh, their burgers are the best.
Yeah,
and I'm typically smash burger.
They got to go there too. Yeah.
Like I like them thin and crispy edge and just American cheese. Yeah. But Sportsman's, I think it's a better burger than O'Connell's. Take that, O'Connell's.
Get out.
I do.
Well, we gotta.
Would you agree?
We gotta get our guests.
You don't agree?
That.
Maybe.
I don't. I'm an O'Connell's.
Well, that's good. Competition is good.
I love Sportsman's. I love I love everything about it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm sentimental. So.
Well, before
welcome home too. You were what? Germany? Portugal?
Yeah, we were applying for citizenship anywhere that would take us.
Yeah.
No, we
don't do it.
Munich, Milan, Lisbon. So it was
oh my gosh,
bouncing around, a little bit of a Griswolds European style.
Yeah, you came back.
Yes, it was we've talked about this before. Travel is critical. It's kind of in the DNA of our family, so we rotate for the holidays, either domestic or overseas or an island. And this year was overseas. And, it's just one of those things. You go, my personal goal was I wanted to get at least 15,000 steps a day.
Wow.
Proof, for you. Here's 50.
Yeah.
15,000 steps. And I wanted to write at least 5,000 words on the book I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it was great. It was a North Star. Got the steps in. Saw alleys and corners and eateries and, cafes that, I'm one of those tourists that, like in Milan, everybody's like, oh, go to the Duomo, go to the Duomo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really a Versace guy to begin with.
Yeah.
I love the architecture.
Yeah.
I don't even think we stopped. Like, well, okay, there it is. Keep going.
Yeah.
Found the alleys and went to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I travel.
That's what I would do. I'm the same.
And then once we get there, we don't have a lot on the agenda, so we literally just look at train schedules. So we went to Como one day. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh my God! Like, you've been to a lot of places when you go there, and obviously, visually, you're like, shit, this is unique.
Yeah.
This has a vibe. That's one of those places. I would put it up there with like the California Red Forest, Northern California.
Yeah.
I remember walking through there thinking I'm in Return of the Jedi, which is where they filmed it.
And Endor.
Yes. In the indoor scene at Como, I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to the patio. I want to kiss my wife on the patio, like Princess Amidala or whatever. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Oh.
Thanks for asking.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming back.
Real quick, before we introduce our guest, just a reminder for those of you listening, thank you, first off. Numbers keep going up, so we must be doing something right.
And what's up with listening to almost the whole show?
That's the
crazy.
The statistician in me is like,
they must be going on a long walk.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're getting past the 2-minute mark.
Yeah.
Well past it.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you for listening.
Crazy.
Be sure to subscribe to any one of your favorite platforms, YouTube preferably if you happen to be a YouTube person. And that is that. So without further ado, now that we've burned 3 more minutes than we told them we would burn in an intro.
Yeah.
Joining us,
Mr. Jim Goebel.
Transplant.
Yep. We got a real one.
Which is part of the core theme of the show.
Yep.
Transplant or replant, and we have a transplant.
Not to be confused with the Goebel that was on some months ago.
Two different. Jim, how's it going?
It's going well.
Jim, thanks for being here.
Seems like you're going back to the German well a little too frequent.
I know, really. It was many months ago, so.
Yeah, I've gotten to know Martin, and so it's at a point where if we're at the same place with others, we get to have the same conversation about how we're not related.
Yeah. Who's the first?
The name,
I'm assuming it's probably
the name
you
is
first.
spelled the same, but
No. We are not related.
Yeah.
Same
is that
spelling.
you first?
It just comes up organically.
Awesome. It's a German thing. But I wanted to have Jim on today because Jim is somebody that you hear a lot about the struggle of moving to St. Louis and how hard it is to integrate and to acclimate. And one of the reasons why I wanted to
Acclimate.
You're right. I see what I did there. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is that you had a different experience. I never learned to do this, but you really kind of made it look easy. And I just kind of wanted to get that perspective.
I was going for the optics.
Yeah. So if we could all have, all of our transplant cases to be like you, but thank you for coming on.
Of
Seriously.
course.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
So in honor of the theme of the show, to try and put a pin in the map a little bit here, would you just take a second, talk a little bit about maybe your roots? You're from Southern Indiana, Evansville area. Give us that the crib notes on the pathway that brought you to St. Louis the first time.
Absolutely. Grew up in Southern Indiana, part of a big family. Mother and father had huge families, and then the two of them decided to have 12 children.
Oh.
So I have 11 siblings.
And you're number one.
And I'm number one. So
the alpha.
Yes.
I'm with 2 oldest now, huh? Yeah.
That's right.
Know your place, Anthony.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to be quiet now.
Pipe down, you. So came over I was working out of college in the environmental testing laboratory business, and went to work for a lab out of Nashville, Tennessee, but they wanted to establish a sales office here in St. Louis. There was a lot of environmental activity in Missouri and Kansas and Iowa. Back in those days, they were ripping underground storage tanks out of the ground.
Yeah.
And then all of those remediations required independent laboratory testing. And so moved over then, took the opportunity. I'd been in Evansville my whole life, and frankly at that moment was love Evansville, love your hometown, and I always will. But in your early 20s, as a single person, I couldn't wait to move. So,
did you have a concept as far as like what you thought you wanted, or where you wanted to go, or kind of what kind of cultural environment you wanted to land in?
Yeah, you're giving me way too much credit, because at that moment, I wasn't thinking strategically or globally about any of those topics. I moved to St. Louis sight unseen.
Wow.
I was on my own. I had a car. Fortunately, I had a company car, which at that young age, that was a huge benefit.
Yeah.
To have a company car, and ended up settling in Maryland Heights.
Get out.
Because I found an apartment complex that had an availability, and it was on the first level next to the pool. So this was my
So you
deep
hadn't
thinking criteria.
you hadn't discovered Brentwood Forest yet.
I didn't know about the Brentwood Forest, and didn't know much about St. Louis outside of the fact that I'd been here for Cardinal games and Blues games in college, and visited here in Six Flags and the Arch when I was a kid.
So what year was this when you landed here the first time?
1994.
Okay,
Yeah.
94.
What is the Indiana relationship with what's the Hoosier St. Louis relation? You know, you hear a lot about the Chicago relationship with St. Louis and the Kansas City relationship with St. Louis, but not the Indiana.
Evansville, Indiana, in my estimation, is a very similar, smaller St. Louis.
Yeah.
There is a lot in common.
Yeah.
Formerly industrial blue collar base. Little Evansville fun fact: the company called Chrysler used to be headquartered in Evansville, Indiana.
Was it really?
They moved to Detroit in the 50s. You know, well after the World War II area. A lot of military equipment was built in Evansville, including the P-47 Thunderbolt airplane was built in the Whirlpool plant just north of town. And so a lot of similarities. I would estimate that Evansville is 60% Cardinal Nation.
That's it. Yeah.
And then probably 30% Cincinnati Reds, because that's on the other
Close.
side.
Yeah.
Right? They're kind of equidistant. And about 10% smattering of irrelevant Cubs fans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was going to say, the people that have WGN,
Yes.
the few that had cable watched
That's
WGN,
right.
they were Cub fans.
yeah, well, that phenomenon happened in
There
Evansville.
are a
too.
lot of Indiana Cardinals fans.
Absolutely.
Now that I think about it.
KMOX.
Yeah.
So this is a dated.
It's KMOX.
This is a dated statistic. I don't think it holds true anymore. But at one moment, Evansville was the #1 ticket market outside of St. Louis. At one point in
my
time,
gosh.
they were selling almost 100,000 tickets a year in Evansville. And I can tell you, it's still a pastime for people in Southern Indiana to come over to Cardinals games.
So one of the other similarities would be the university itself, because Evansville, most people, when they think of Evansville, it is the university is kind of like,
Purple Aces, baby.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, was that ever on your radar, or were you like, Southern Indiana isn't that far away from Evansville, but it wasn't home.
Right. Are you referring to me attending?
Yeah, because when you grow up, like a lot of people here in St. Louis, while they would love to go to WashU, et cetera, even if they're capable of getting in, there's always like, no, I got to go away. Right? Were you?
Yeah, I started out my academic career as a fine arts major.
Okay.
And
Was it really? Wow.
Jimmy Goebel, fun fact, I was the recipient of the Blue Ribbon in the 1987 Evansville Museum High School Art Show, which involved all the schools in the acrylic painting division. And there I met...
Peel the onion, Jim. Oh, my gosh.
I was the cartoonist for my university newspaper for 3 years. But I met a guy named John Laughlin. John was the director of the art program at the State University west of town, Southern Indiana. And I met him as a senior in high school. I met him at the art show, and he introduced himself and congratulated me on my amazing blue ribbon, and said, "I want you here." I already had a bunch of buddies going to what we referred to as West Side High, USI, Southern Indiana, which is now Division I, by the way. They've moved up the ladder. And I didn't have a lot of money, and this was the first person outside of my high school or my family to talk to me about art and fine arts, and so I decided to start my academic career there. And it was easy because I got to, move about 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
I did go out and live on campus, and I had a plan, this grand plan, that I was going to transfer to Indiana University. But by the time my first year was over, I had a girlfriend, I had a fraternity, I had a job at the Shoe Carnival, which was based in Evansville.
Yeah.
I wore a tuxedo
Still
to work
around.
every day.
Yeah.
And I decided, hey, I'm going to stick this out and get a degree here.
Back when Indiana University was a basketball school.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Still Bob Knight.
Bob Knight.
Yeah.
That was an era. So
Oh,
So
sure.
so fine arts, and then we get out of fine arts. How?
We realized that we are.
that there are bills.
You're the oldest of 12,
Well,
and
my
realize there's
In my
needs to be more.
parochial grade school, there were 16 kids, and I was the best artist in the class. In my parochial high school, there were 540 kids,
Wow.
and I was, one of the top 3 probably artists in the school.
Yeah.
And then you get to the university level, and you meet real artists with real talent,
Yeah.
and you also realize, I thought I was passionate about this. I'm not. In fact, I don't know what passion is because these people are crazy. They're like,
Right.
people were getting up in the middle of the night, finishing their piece.
If this is talent, I have none.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Imposter syndrome sets in
Yes.
for the first time.
Wouldn't know a thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because I was literally yesterday at the time of this recording, I was in the car heading back from Nashville. My son's down there, and I'm a podcast listener, and I love founders. And the guy, the episode was about Rick Rubin and his most recent book, and it was along those lines. Like there's a difference between people that love art, that do art, and then there are artists, and artists are just. They are self-absorbed. They are, crazy,
Yeah.
for a reason
A
because
form of crazy, yes.
they just see.
And Rick Rubin isn't out there at all.
No,
He's
and
super-
it was really a brilliant conversation because I'm hearing you tell your own personal story because I think like a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, that are leaders, do tend to have buried in their book of tricks or their toolbox, so to speak, art. Some form of it. Yours was painting, or maybe it's a guitar or whatever. It's the other part of the brain.
Building a company is a specific form of creativity.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
I think the best business entrepreneurs and the best startup leaders are the rare breed of people that are both left and right-brained.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience, there's not that many of those folks out there.
So let's.
I've known you 30 years. I did not know there was.
Did you know
art,
that?
art. Did not know that.
Did you know our previous president George Bush is a painter as well?
I did know that.
Did you know?
Yeah. I did know that.
He's doing mad portraits. He's doing
Yes.
crazy portraits.
He
Yeah.
does do
Yeah,
portraits. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's pull the timeline because I really want to get into kind of your trajectory, pathway, and experiences as it pertains to you. You've been in St. Louis twice. This is your second time. You were there the first time that you talked about earlier with the firm out of Nashville. You went to Carolinas, correct?
Charlotte, yeah.
Same company, new company, same industry.
New company. That this was the foray into the telecom business.
Okay.
And so lived in Charlotte, drove across the state line every day into a little town called Lancaster, South Carolina. That used to be a rural drive. Now it's all built up, and
Yeah.
Charlotte's just exploded. Great place to live. Traffic is unbearable at this point.
Yeah.
But loved living there.
One angle we have over them.
It is.
They do kick
it's
our
an
butt all the time.
unappreciated angle that
Yeah.
we St. Louisans do not appreciate is
Yeah.
there's no traffic.
Yeah.
Well, to be devil's advocate, the reason would be maybe we are not doing the job we should be doing to have the density to create traffic.
This this is a point. This would be the other side of said coin.
Yeah, it's a glass half.
I went there to when Crop Sciences was coming to St. Louis. I went there to try to poke holes in the North Carolina Cary Research Triangle, St. Louis.
How'd that go for you?
It was tough. It was tough. I was able to. There were only two because you can't win on weather, you can't win on price. Nobody's from there, so it's a very socially easy place to integrate. But schools, redistricting is something that happens really very frequently there, like every couple of years. And then it was the traffic and the commutes were shocking. Even North Carolina travel. Anyway, I digress. So it was. You're not kidding. Yeah.
So you transitioned into telecom at a time in which obviously the World Wide Webs and technology,
interwebs,
is starting to become not only this thing you see in the last 2 minutes of the newscast, but it's actually presenting itself in everyday applications. College students at that time, they're your dial-up and everything else, and obviously that Charlotte, that region was really exploding, in finance and technology, et cetera.
Banking.
At what point in that process did a move back to a city that is not your hometown kind of start to present itself as either a desire or a strategy?
It was a desire because I'd married a St. Louis girl.
That would do it.
A lot of
What high school did she go to?
She went to Ladue, Horton Watkins.
God, they always win. That's unbelievable.
But the mothership, corporately speaking, the mothership was here.
Okay.
And so we were a separate but wholly owned affiliate of the mothership that was here. So ultimately, I wanted to try to get a deal done with the ownership to take over the company. I was supposed to be part of the succession plan, and so in order to facilitate that process, I needed to come back.
So timestamp this for us, because you get out of college early, late 80s, early 90s. Your first stint here with the Nashville firm. You go to Charlotte. Now you're planning on coming back. What's the time frame that we're looking at?
I got back in summer of 2005.
Okay.
So I've been back in St. Louis now for coming up on 21 years.
So okay. Post.com, post-tech, tech bubble, Enron, everything occurred early. Mm-hmm. That's also post 9/11. We went through the recession, post early Bush 1. In 2005, St. Louis is a very unique place because that's actually right about the time that I moved back here from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's booming.
When you got here, obviously you had the connection through the firm, mm-hmm. and your own personal corporate strategy plan. Where did the city itself come into play in making it a good decision, a fun decision, or a desirable decision to stay here?
There were multiple factors. I've always loved St. Louis. I mean, I have fond memories coming here as a kid and doing all the things, right? The zoo, the Six Flags, the Arch, and was a Blues fan already and a Cardinals fan since I was a little kid. So a lot of that was innate, right? I already had this affection for the town. Mm-hmm. Started, the family had a young family at that time, so closer to Indiana was an appeal as well. A 2.5-hour drive versus a 10-hour drive.
Yeah. See your parents and the family.
To see parents and family, again, large family and that type of thing.
One or two aunts or uncles and cousins.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're, I've got Midwest DNA, and God bless the Northeast and the Southwest and the Southeast and great parts of the country, but you get, realistically, you're comfortable here, and Four Seasons, and there's a lot to be said about the centrality of St. Louis. I don't think it's something that gets talked about. We're not far from anything.
Right.
2.5 hours to Miami.
Yeah.
3 hours to LAX. It's really not bad.
Yeah.
So there was, I had a lot of positive prejudices about St. Louis at that time.
Did you have any negative prejudices that you recall?
Having not lived here, I mean, I knew about the struggles, the challenges that the municipality had. The very odd, comparing and contrasting mentally is the best way to get your brain around things. If you want to learn a lot about English, take up another language because you're going to compare what you know, right? Same thing. So Charlotte, compared to St. Louis at that time, is really apples and oranges. Charlotte has 5 or 6, sub-cities around it. Most of that large geography is Charlotte City. Here you have the city of St. Louis, a very small geography, and there are 130 municipalities around it. So that just structurally was different. Charlotte, you didn't have it's not as parochial. The whole decade I was there, I've met very few people born
natives.
And raised in Charlotte. Right. I did meet them, but they were the exception, not the rule. So there was this instant connection when you met people. Hey, when did you get here?
They're all transplants.
What part of town did you move to?
Yeah.
Where what school district? And all those things.
Like no one's from Atlanta either, or Miami.
Very similar. Yeah.
Well,
and so
Chicago. The south side of Chicago, everybody's from Chicago. The north side of Chicago, I gave it 10%.
And then you come back to St. Louis, and it's where did you go to high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, of course, because no other high schools are relevant. But it's just very different, right? And so this is a very parochial town. It's close knit. It's very family oriented, but it can be challenging for an outsider, for sure.
Different than, and it's more, and it's quicker to kind of have those relationships, find those circles, get those connections in a city like Charlotte. It happens.
I would say that's true.
Yeah. And what are the cities would that be Durham, Chapel Hill, or is that a little far away? Cary, where are the
RTP is about 3 hours from Charlotte.
Okay. So what are the kind of the sister cities of in and around? It's kind of becoming like North Carolina City.
I think that's one of the advantages is really not.
Charlotte's a big place now. Yeah. It's much bigger now than when I was there. But Greensboro is halfway between RTP and Charlotte.
Yep. That's becoming a thing. Yep.
And that I-77 corridor is turning into one big thing.
It's one big city.
It's kind of like San Antonio and Austin. It used to be country between those towns, and now there's New Braunfels, and it's all blowing up and very similar.
Well, we're our city now, all the way to Innsbruck.
Shh, don't tell anybody. What high school did they go to?
I say,
sorry,
my friends of Wright City. I did not mean to out you.
I was told there would be no A-frame references.
I have one. Anybody want to buy an A-frame? I got one for sale for you.
There is one for sale at this table.
Yes. So I find it, that time frame was really unique for me personally. I come back, I have my first son, my wife and I have our first son in 2005. I grew up here, but the second I graduated from high school, I was, see ya, out, went away to college, and immediately following college, straight up to Chicago. I was up there for 7-8 years, and then came back. And I remember at that time frame, feeling as if it was easy. Now, mind you, I grew up here, wrong side of the river, albeit, Granite City kid, but I remember at the time, after being in Chicago for so long, that the traffic, parking, the food, jobs, right?
Logistics. Yeah.
It all felt really easy. So at the time, as you come back and you're strategizing to take over the company, right? Mm-hmm. Was the intention to always stay because of your wife's from here, your kids are now growing here, and specifically, was St. Louis an asset, from the standpoint of the company that you wanted to take over, that you wanted to run? Was the city itself part of the DNA of the value of the company, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is yes, it was. There was again, I've always been very comfortable here. Yeah. The culture is not that different from town to town in the Midwest. Everyone has their unique picadillos culturally that set them apart. And there were certainly those things here. But there was an established business here with 50 employees. So my understanding was, I was here for a good while, for sure, if not permanently.
So at that time too, this is also, I reference, the kind of post.com, everything else, obviously technology as, the preeminent industry in America, taking over heavy industrial manufacturing, everything else. Tech was king. St. Louis's tech scene at that time, do you remember what that might have looked like or felt like? Because obviously, like, certain cities had synergy, Silicon Valley, right? Everybody's in tech.
Right.
Here, I don't recall it like a lot of people talking about tech, but obviously you broke through. Was there a club, or was it a singular endeavor?
You have to recall, I think it's worth noting that I was in telecom, not tech. Telecom, and specifically the application of voice, moved into the IT space,
Correct.
driven there by technology. It used to be its own silo. And there was a lot of telecom in St. Louis, and that was left over from the SBC days when Southwestern Bell was here.
The baby bells.
Before we sent Ed Whitaker down to Texas for not letting him play golf here. There was a lot of folks here that were former SBC employees, executives, and there was a lot of telecom-related businesses here.
30,000 of them.
A lot of people and companies.
It was a city.
Yeah, the number of companies here reflected that. There were a lot of telecom businesses, related businesses in St. Louis.
Why was that? What was the infrastructure that allowed that to be true?
Well, that was before software began to do what hardware used to do.
Okay.
So there were a lot of hardware businesses here.
And you were it was in the hardware space.
I was
as well.
absolutely in a hardware business, right?
Phone
We sold
lines.
parts, right? Line cards, power supplies, desktop telephones. My goodness, we probably sold over the years. We probably sold 1 million desktop phones.
So kids, there used to be a telephone.
Yes.
on a day. It was a plastic, and
every business person in America
had one on their desk,
regardless of the industry they were in, had a multi-line telephone on their desk, and that was the business we were in.
So what were maybe
Incredible.
some of the
well, can I hold on real quick, JB? Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. Can we? I think it's important, actually. I don't think we've ever talked about that on the show. But SBC and Ed Whitaker and the story that happened there, what is that urban legend, and how the social fabric and provinciality can cost you in the business and civic world? I think it's an important thing to note. Not many people. I don't know that everyone knows that story.
Well, it is anecdotal.
It's anecdotal,
and it is urban legend. But as the story goes,
I can tell it too.
Ed Whitaker, who started off as a field engineer in West Texas, he was a graduate, I believe, of Texas Tech.
Yep.
So he began his career sitting in a central office in rural Lubbock, and ended up being, I don't know if people recall this, but when the Obama administration took over General Motors for a brief time and it became Government Motors, the CEO they appointed was Ed Whitaker. So, and handpicked by Barack Obama. But prior to that, Ed rose through the ranks of Southwestern Bell, which was the smallest of the baby bells. There was Pacific Bell, Southeastern Bell, Bell Atlantic, 9X, all these companies, Ameritech. Those were all the baby bells when they blew up Ma Bell in 1986.
Yeah.
And SBC ended up, ironically, although the smallest, ended up being the one that gobbled up everybody else and basically put the whole thing back together. Any other leader of that endeavor would have probably given that newly amalgamated entity a cool name. Yeah. But because it was Ed Whitaker and he was this old school guy from Texas, he said, nope, it's AT&T.
Yeah.
Which was actually a 2.0 AT&T. But as the story goes, Anthony, SBC is here. Their corporate headquarters are here. 30,000 workers, mostly white-collar jobs. And it was prestigious, just like it was prestigious to have TWA in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Just like it was prestigious to have Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. The fact that we had a Baby Bell here was a big deal. It meant we were a major city. And Ed Whitaker tried, as the story goes, tried to join St. Louis Country Club. Mm-hmm. One of the unwritten rules that we peasants are told is that you, in order to join
The proletariat.
correct. In order to join St. Louis Country Club, you must, among other things, it's certainly not about your ability to write the check.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it.
He had that ability.
He had that ability, as have a lot of folks. But at that time, you had to be born here.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so birthright was
Sure.
one of the top 2 or 3 factors before they would entertain. So he applies for membership and gets rejected. The CEO
Why not?
of a
Why
Bell
not Old
company.
Warson? Why not Belle Reve? Why?
I would have to ask Mr. Whitaker that question. But
So he wants St. Louis Country Club.
he wants St. Louis Country Club. He wants the Blue Blood Club, the old club in town. And they rejected his application.
Wasn't that like episode 6 of Game of Thrones?
I mean, it's the CEO of 8. I mean, can you make an exception?
And he's a Texan. And he said, you know what? I never liked this place anyway.
Who do you
We're
people
going
think
to
you
Dallas. Yeah. And that was
Sounds
was
like,
how St. Louis lost its
And now the AT&T
Bell Company.
For also those who don't know, that's now the AT&T building that is
Vacant.
of on our skyline.
I think
That is
sold for $3 million at the last
I think
sale.
4.5. Yeah, and that is talked about. So he basically takes a city of people, 33,000 people, and goes to Texas
That's correct.
because of a slight of our
As Doc Holliday said, lots the rumor.
So I don't I
Makes-
don't want to a little on the nose, but there is a lesson there. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating.
Well, I guess okay. So you are.
So telecom. Yeah.
Well, no. I want to stay on this for just a
Okay,
second there
all right,
because
all right.
you're a successful individual. Anthony just pointed out there's a lesson there, right? And there are civic leaders that do listen to this.
Yeah.
What is the lesson from that experience, from that story? Because that same story happened to Walt Disney. Right
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
So, given your experience, leadership, vision, what is the lesson from Whitaker being told no?
The lesson is this town has its own unique cultural legacy that is difficult for people who were not born and raised here to understand. And I don't know that I can explain it because it might be inexplicable, but it certainly, I think anyone's visceral reaction, gut reaction is that this is a breach of common sense.
Start and stop. All good.
Well, I think the Disney story is similar in that the civic leaders were arrogant.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as human beings, the way our minds work, we tend to want to point to one or two things and say, that's the reason why that occurred. That's the reason why that dynamic exists. It's more nuanced than that. There's lots of reasons. But if you gun to your head, you got a point. There was this belief that, it was a privilege and an honor, and you're lucky to be here talking to us.
It's show me.
Do you believe?
And wasn't that a fight over what kind of beer was going to be served in Disney?
Well, again, anecdotally,
these are all urban legends. Yeah, there is
was
no.
Walt said this is a family park and we're not going to serve alcohol.
St.
And
Louis
Augie
didn't like that.
and Augie said, and the rumor is it was August.
Yeah.
Who said, if you're not serving beer here, you can go build your park somewhere else.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Well, so
I mean, it's everything wrong and everything amazing.
well, here's the
about
crazy
St.
thing
Louis.
about these
I
stories.
can't.
Nobody here that pays attention to even 10% of what goes on doesn't know the reality of kind of. They might know they might not know the specifics of these stories,
Yeah.
but they completely understand the premise.
But there's a punctuation to that story, which we should note. Anheuser-Busch did exactly that.
Yeah.
They started Busch Gardens.
Yeah.
And Augie said, I'm going to open my own theme parks.
I'm going to do my own.
And he did. And they served beer.
That was the difference.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the killer whale trainers, when they slip,
Yeah.
Walt Disney,
They get beer.
you and your
They're a little tipsy.
they were a little tipsy.
Walt Disney, you and your stupid mouse can go to the swamps in Florida.
Yeah. You can go. Don't let the
This is what
door
he did.
hit
He
you.
went and drained a swamp and built a
And,
empire.
and didn't this might be more your purview, JB, but didn't Jerry want to buy the Fox for the Grateful Dead?
That's a new one, actually.
Did you hear? Yeah, that they really in the 70s they wanted to turn the Fox Theater into the World
I wouldn't.
Dead hub.
That
So,
would not surprise me.
Yeah, they loved it so much, and it just would have been an ongoing, like a Vegas style
So let me ask you.
hippie commune down there.
It totally makes sense. Well, because we're also coming off of the tailwinds of what was Gaslight Square,
Yeah, sure.
right? So a lot of these artists, poets, comedians, etc., like this was one of the kind of our cool spot, off the beaten path, right?
Yeah,
From Miles to Smothers Brothers, Barbra Streisand was here all
Yeah.
the time.
Was the gas lamp district?
Gaslight
Square.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a cultural entertainment hub.
Yeah.
In the
100%.
60s and 70s.
Oh my God.
Well, that was the inspiration for the name of the company, Gaslight STL. Now, had I known
Where we're sitting.
that the term gaslight would have gone south fast soon after.
That every breaking up couple in marriage would be using that
I'm
term.
like, oh my God, whatever. I'm sticking to it.
We're back to the darn interwebs.
Everything is cyclical. I'm standing.
Lot of therapy words going around. Yeah. Hopefully that one will be
So-
going
so-
away sometime soon.
So let me ask you this then.
And narcissist. You're a narcissist.
You're approaching, I'm going to guess roughly close to half, whatever, of your life as a St. Louisan. Your kids were raised here.
They're natives.
Your wife is from here.
My ex-wife.
Ex-wife. Who are you? Would you consider yourself, a St. Louisan, a wannabe St. Louisan? Are you true? I'm a Southern Indianan through and through. Like, where are you on that spectrum with the longevity, family, and successes that you've had here? Do you feel part of that?
Well, I'm no Anthony Bartlett, but
There's only one.
but I feel that I'm an advocate for this town and this region, and I believe in this region, and I also believe that Anthony knows this already because we've talked about it over cocktails deep into the night, that this area is going to boom despite itself,
Wow.
despite all of the things we're doing to stop it, and the common sense, back to the common sense reference, the things that perhaps we're not doing. It's going to boom anyway, and we'd better be prepared for it. We were talking about traffic earlier. I mean, this is going to be an issue at some point because economics drives everything, in my opinion. And so you've got culture here, you've got restaurants here, you've got professional sports here, you've got great location. Again, from an airport standpoint, it's a great location.
Logistically, yeah.
They will come. It's going to happen. We're going to be 3 decades behind everybody else, but it's going to happen. And so, I'm of the mind that the civic leadership here, the corporate leadership here, there has to be a lot more private, public, and intentionality around preparing for that because it's going to happen. Look at what's happening right now with AI data centers.
Yeah.
Are they putting AI data centers in Miami or Silicon Valley or New York City? No. Where are they putting them? They're putting them where they've got the space, where they've got the energy, where they've got the water. Hello, Midwest. Here we are.
Yeah.
And this is going to drive the economy for the next 50 years. It's going to happen to St. Louis, and the fact that Indy and Milwaukee and Nashville and Kansas City are ahead of us, at the end of the day, will be irrelevant.
I tell you what, that's a great place to take a quick pause. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to take this onion that has been laid on the table, and we're going to peel the shit out of it, because I really want to get your opinion on, king for a day status. Some of the things that you're talking about, we have a lot of people with opinions as to what is happening current/past. But, I really think the vision and ideas seem to be lacking in this town. And I want to talk a little bit about that. And we'll talk about some of your faves, hangs, eats, drinks, disappears. What do you say, Anthony? You down with that?
I can't wait.
All right. We'll be right back. Thanks. Okay. We're back.
What was the meat was it Kenrick's? What was by the office?
Kenrick's is a St. Louis landmark in South City.
The Butcher. Mm-hmm. Christmas we got
Joe the Butcher.
We got Kenrick's.
Yeah, we
on
got
your
some,
recommendation.
Yeah, we got some ribeyes. Oh, you did.
Yes.
Oh, really? How did that go?
That's amazing.
What are those? They sell those little
stuffed mushrooms.
Those but the mini fillets that are like bacon wrapped, right? Isn't
Yes.
that one of their? They're like pop 'em.
One of those things too. Yes. They
God,
have
everything
stuffed
in there is so
mushrooms.
good. Oh,
Yeah, it's a proper deli butcher shop.
What's the one on South Kings Highway by Filer, that's on the east side?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
G&W.
Yeah.
G&W. Yep.
Yep.
I like that place,
I mean,
and I don't go there enough. But you walk in, and the old woman, like the mom or aunt or whatever,
they hand you a cold bush beer in a
Bush
can. Who wouldn't fall in love with a place like that?
I mean, you go in, you're looking at the brats and everything, but then there's a whole stack of what could be like fish fillets that are actually just cans of Bush.
Anthony, how did the Kenricks go over with the family?
My God! I mean,
passed muster.
not only that, just the quality, the taste, but the price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they sent out a actual tangible, like in the magazine coupon.
Yeah.
That my mother found.
It's Straub's quality
Yes.
at a
At a
blue collar price.
South
at
County
Aldi's
price.
price. Yeah. No, so good. And the G&W, by the way, they do those bratwursts are really.
Yeah.
But if you go to a Cardinals game, pro tip, go to the home plate entrance in their G&W. You'll actually see the lady sometimes, and she's wearing a big hot dog on her head.
Yep.
Go to that one. It's a really special meat and tube form.
There you go. That's your PSA of the day. Rolling in here with the eyes. We were talking earlier about Kennedy's and everything else. The eyes was the original Pale Divine. So a little throwback to Laclede.
Is that what we got going?
Yeah, a little rock and roll.
So good.
So here we are. Just before the break, we were talking about bigger ideas, or maybe just an idea at this point. Jim, you were saying that that it's coming, that the growth,
In spite of ourselves.
which would really be a statement, if true, that kind of is the antithesis of the vast majority of commentary from Ness Sandoval's of the world and the Mesners and everybody else. That's like, it's not working. It's going. You're in spite of yourselves, right? Give us like the intro speech as to why you believe good things are on the horizon.
There are still, always in all things, go to the fundamentals. We have, as crazy as this sounds on the surface, might not be crazy. We have water here. We have fresh water.
More than any city in the world.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The two largest rivers on the continent have a confluence here. It is the location. It is the economics. Again, to my earlier statement, economics drives everything. There are layers here. There's nuance here about things that need to happen. And I really don't want to go down this road because it's been so overdone and so overspoken too. But the first domino that has to fall is a city-county merger.
Yep.
And my attitude, I'm West County. My attitude has always been, again, Anthony AB knows this, bollocks to everyone that's opposing this. Like, I don't want to listen to them. I don't want to hear their opinion, because the blueprint for success for this city and this region, everyone is acting like our situation is unique and it has to be cured in a vacuum. We have to come up with these fresh ideas. We do not. The blueprint is out there. It's been done by other Midwestern cities. Did they have our exact challenges? No, but they had their own set of challenges.
Louisville, Indianapolis.
Louisville
all those,
is, and again, I'm old enough to remember when my first job out of college, I traveled to Louisville. It was the first city I traveled to for business purposes. And I remember staying downtown in Louisville. And, buddy, you wanted to be up in your room by 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And the downtown downtown Louisville was a dump.
Yeah.
Have you been there recently? It's nothing short of amazing. I mean, they have young people living downtown. They have
smoked with young people.
Soccer
they have
stadium.
the whiskey district. They have a theater district. They have an entertainment district. These are new and distinct areas of downtown, and it is booming.
A blast.
And this is a Midwestern, river town, blue collar. I mean, so many similarities. They were never as significant or as large as St. Louis, right? But the point being, and oh yeah, by the way, guess what they did about 18 years ago?
Yeah, merged.
They merged the city and the county, and they had so many similar problems and challenges to St. Louis has. So that's the first domino to fall. And as you guys probably know, and AB knows a lot better than the rest of us, there are serious people, I think, doing serious things now to try to get to that end. The challenges, and I don't know how you get past this. How do you get it past the constituency? Because honestly, we need to ignore them. It's for their own good. Anybody voting against this or talking against this, whether it's the NIMBYs in West County or whether it's the city dwellers who think that they should be looked upon.
One control,
that want control of their own destiny in their own town. They all have to be ignored. I mean, this must happen.
Yeah. So it's still so you're saying, logistically, you've got the assets here. So you've got the location, you've got the water, which is where from telecom to tech. Now we're into the data world.
Yes.
We have the infrastructure actually, but we don't have the political and social will. That our issue is a political quotient and really a choice, as opposed to what other markets are dealing with is they don't actually have the commodity, but we have the commodity, but not the will. Is that?
I don't want to see us, honestly, the opportunity at our feet right now that, what we don't want is someone on a podcast in 20 years talking about the data center opportunity.
How we were passed over.
Well, that we were passed over. I mean, we are perfect for data center. And we've got two things going for us. We've got already built infrastructure that could be converted. I mean, don't get me started on the North City River, and all of those old buildings down there.
The riverfront,
That, it's on the river. You can build dynamos.
Yep.
You can build the power.
I mean, we're capable of running the river underneath facilities so that we can get a gambling license, but we're not capable of rerouting the river so that we can create data center jobs.
That are going to
Am I close?
Gangster.
These are economic
Pittsburgh
sustainers for, that are going to be relevant for a half a century to a century.
How would you respond to kind of the headline narrative as it pertains to the public's opposition to data centers, to utility rates, to the water, right? All these natural resources that kind of get burnt up in the process.
Yeah, what is the rebuttal? What are the? Because I would think St. Louisans, it would be a fit that they would like. It's
Well,
not
I
a
think-
ton of people. They don't like crowds. I'm like, here's this moneymaker that.
Let me
Yeah.
add a part B to it, and maybe it's because of our own experience here. Because the first time we really
What is the opposition about? I'm curious
crossed
too.
this bridge and ended up at this standoff was with the Armory, which I would argue, like, look, if we want to be a data center hub, why did we pick a building to battle over that was kind of in the heart of what really needs to be human density? You know,
In Midtown there.
yeah, I'm like, look, it's an awful location anyway. It's a new business, whatever, great. But how would you address kind of the green contingency, the utility contingency, seniors that are worried about their rates, all this stuff, like make them feel better?
Well, you're asking me to take a big bite of the cookie.
Yep. That's what we do here over Busch beers.
By the way, this is delicious.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Especially on a Friday afternoon.
I don't want to jump the shark, but this is a very Evansville drink, by the way. So,
I love it.
back when Bud Light was at its heyday and it owned the entire marketplace, there were only a handful of markets in the U.S. where Bud Light was not number one.
Evansville.
One of them was Evansville because Busch Light rules.
was number one.
I love it.
So yeah, true statement. So there's a lot to talk about there. You know, AI data centers. You know, the big challenge is heat dissipation. That's what we're talking about. So these are the hottest, most power-consuming data centers that have ever existed. They're not typical to what we've had up to this point. These servers are denser, and the only way today, and we're using broad terms here. There are other ways too. The only way to cool these facilities effectively is to have a fresh water source, and you literally run cool water, you know, around the building, and use forced air conditioning to
Fascinating.
into these. And so that's why the Midwest is the obvious spot for, you know, where we've got rivers and tributaries and
Because it can't just be cool air; it's got to be cool, cold water
and forced air.
Yeah.
Because you have to literally push the hot air away from these GPUs, like companies like NVIDIA are making, because they produce so much heat, and they will eventually fail if they're not cooled. That water. So there's a lot of just like in politics, you know, there's a thick undercurrent of xenophobia underneath all politics.
Right.
There's a thick layer of hysteria around all of this, and I'm not denouncing all of the concerns around it. There are real concerns. What I would say is it can all be managed, and this is where strong, intelligent, civic, and political leadership comes in. All of these issues can be addressed. You know, we can freeze utility rates for seniors. We can freeze utility rates for low income.
Yep.
And just because you're putting data centers in, everyone seems to believe that all of these issues are zero sum.
Right.
They're not. We're going to have to generate a lot more electricity in this country and in the world. Nuclear is the only answer. Wind and solar are supplemental in the best case scenario, and specifically when the sun is shining and when the wind is blowing. Because when the wind is not blowing and the sun is not shining, they don't work. And so nuclear is the answer. That's a whole other kettle of fish. But all of this can be managed. This isn't, we're not truly going down, we're not truly traveling in uncharted waters here.
So let's get into specifically St. Louis. We referenced the Armory debate that occurred recently. There's now a
St. Charles.
yeah,
Where is it
battle
going
out in
there?
St. Charles.
Yep.
That's what I was going to say. Who's leading it in your view? Like, because, you know, when we talk about the growth of an industry, Anthony points out we have the commodities, we have the water, we have the buildings, we have the footprint, we have the grid. The city was built for 900,000 people. We're at 275. So we have infrastructure availability, right? Would you say, or do you get frustrated that there doesn't appear to be a spokesman, right? Because there's nobody like
Extremely frustrated. Extremely frustrated. And I think that's the main thing. Look, if you want to ask me at 50,000 feet, what's wrong with this place? That's it. That's the answer. Where are the spokesmen? Where are the advocates? And I know there are people, and perhaps people listening to this podcast, that are going to be insulted by that, because there are civic leaders who are trying and efforting and giving of themselves for the true betterment of the region and the city. However, it's different than it was in the 40s and 50s.
Yes.
When this place was relevant and on the rise and booming. And you had corporate headquarters here, and you had a major airport hub here. That's the thing that I think we don't have. The current political situation in the city and the county is woefully inadequate to even address these things. And by that I mean even to begin the conversation, because there's infighting and pettiness and an IQ problem, and I mean, not to put too fine a point on it.
They just don't want it. Or the resident.
Here's a way to say it. Maybe Anthony,
they don't want to be found.
The knee-jerk answer is no, and I don't understand that.
Well, I tell you what, I'll dip my toe in the water briefly here, because here's maybe how because I get in the weeds on this stuff. I look at Jeff City, and I look at how and who runs Jeff City today. And then I look at our St. Louis, kind of what we've just been describing, the infrastructure, the logistics, all of these things. And it feels as if Jeff City prioritizes maintaining political might over the city, in spite of the one industry that could potentially turn Missouri around, right?
Absolutely.
But they're not willing to give a win to a district that doesn't match from an ideological standpoint.
That's correct. And that's a microcosm for the rest of the country, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not alone in this. I mean, politics is out of control.
One thing that you mentioned earlier, I want to make a quick lane shift here. You were talking about the advantages of St. Louis from a central standpoint, the water, et cetera, and you were like the economics. You're an economics guy, and I love that. I want to get your take on this battle that occurs through the thought leaders around here that want to either say, hey, this is an affordable city. Your dollar goes far. It's good to invest in because the barrier to entry is fairly low from an economic standpoint, versus this idea and this ideology that selling cheap or affordable isn't a draw in today's market. Where are you on the spectrum of value versus cheapness?
I think affordability deserves a bullet point on the benefits list. However, I'm with you. What I think you're implying, I'm with you. You don't lead with that. That's not what you lead with, because that's the lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's cheap. It's cheap houses.
But how do I
come
make
here
money?
and
yeah,
right?
Yay!
Yeah, it's base, and the town has so much to offer. I mean, and I know our friend AB here has spent his professional life, trying to, as the town crier, and trying to preach this message to all who will listen, that this place is exceptional and can't get out of its own way.
Go ahead, Anthony.
And when you're looking at you've got 4 kiddos, and they're young professionals and early professionals. One in Tulsa.
One in Tulsa.
Yeah, and
one at WashU.
And one at WashU. What is sort of what's the pulse of their perspective on? And then I also want to get your perspective as a CEO and as a founder and as somebody. I wanted to get that pulse on what they feel about city, county, and St. Louis, and then what are the early the early professionals as they sort of start exploring what are you seeing there? What are you picking up there?
Well, I guess I'll start with the kids.
Yes, let's start with the kiddos.
The kids. I believe opportunity drives geography.
Okay.
Opportunity drives geography. One of the things that, whether it's been explicitly talked about out loud or it's just been under an undercurrent, one of the things that's always separated, and there's demographic studies to prove this, that has separated Americans from the rest of the world, from the rest of the developed world, is a willingness to relocate. And that is something that is changing, in my opinion. I mean, COVID threw gasoline on this fire with remote work. Obviously, the whole remote work thing has changed it, but we've gone from
So we're at a 44-year low on mobility.
That's correct. Yeah, it has come down, and so and the question is why.
Yeah.
Some of it's cultural, some of it's technological, but a lot of it's cultural.
Interesting.
Which is that's changing. When my generation got out of school, we were, where do I got to go? Do I need to go to Chicago? Or do I need to go to Florida? Do I need to go to the West Coast? Where is the opportunity for me to launch my career? And we certainly don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the whole Gen Z thing.
Yeah.
But you've got an incoming generation of kids. I'll use the term kids that don't think that way.
Yeah.
They want to stay in the basement.
That's
they want to interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I have a point here. That's my context and framing for St. Louis. How my kids want to live here because of their family ties. They don't want to live here otherwise.
Right.
Does that make sense?
In terms of professional opportunity,
My-
upward mobility, they don't see it as an economic.
We were talking about Louisville. Have you been to Tulsa?
Yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
haven't been yet.
Des Moines.
I'm dying
It's
to
a
go.
sleepy, old, new oil town.
I mean, there's like a startup community and a.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They have the most absolutely spectacular, amazing municipal park down on the riverfront, on the Arkansas River.
Yeah.
It's called the Gathering Place.
Guys, other cities have parks too. I hate to say this.
Boy, we like to talk
They
about
also
parks
have
a lot.
museums.
Yeah.
Sorry, ours are awesome. The parks are great.
Tulsa-
But like other cities have them.
But are they free?
Okay, go on. Sorry,
Tulsa is something in the area. It's something in the area of a boomtown, and what you can argue about how, to what extent, but the point is they've experienced a renaissance.
So let me ask you specifically about Tulsa. I know enough about it to be dangerous, but comparing and contrasting what you were just talking about for St. Louis as it pertains to the potential of data centers, of that kind of like game-changing industry that could make your region, Tulsa, what was the thing there? Was it energy? What is that, LNG in that area, or is it actually
It's still LNG, and Tulsa, University of Tulsa is one of the top petroleum engineering schools in the country.
And so, why do so many St. Louisans go to Tulsa for school?
It's curious.
It's like a thing.
There's a short list of schools where St. Louis kids go, right?
Yeah.
There's Ole Miss.
Ole Miss for sure.
There's Miami of Ohio.
Yep. Big time.
There's Indiana.
Yep.
There's Tulsa.
Yep.
And beyond that,
Dayton maybe. Yeah.
maybe some Dayton.
Yeah.
Well, I think of the thing about the university relationship.
But those you just named. Now Arkansas, I would say, is
if you look at really the university relationship of St. Louisans to said schools, in a lot of these cases, this is a world that I love and know, deeply, is the athletic pathway. Yeah. Indiana University, in the 80s, et cetera, when they were winning all those national championships, a third of their team were St. Louisans. Tulsa is a Division I program that has had a lot of St. Louis players, and it becomes this thing where again, it's another perfect example.
Because the athlete.
It's a perfect example where we are exporting our talent
Yeah.
into these markets that are just shifting in real time, presenting an opportunity for these young individuals. Your kids, my kids are the same, where yes, they know St. Louis, it's easy, family's there, could they make it work? Sure. but they're looking for opportunity and inspiration in these other markets.
But doesn't that make you? How does that not make the residents of St. Louis crazy? That your commodity that you are exporting are your kids.
I'm
like literally, like so. Our kids, if you look at the St. Louis from athletics to music to the arts, we give these St. Louis kids to the world, and they're not here, and they don't live here.
Do you see it that way through your own children?
I think he's onto something.
Like what?
They do not associate.
Like, enjoy them.
Yeah.
They do not associate. I'm talking about the populace here, call it city and county. They do not associate progress and growth with
Why your kids don't live here?
with success.
So we make it hard for outsiders to assimilate, and then we make it really easy for our own to
leave.
export.
Right.
Well said. Sadly said, but well said. Yeah.
So, okay, so as a father of impressionable next-gen individuals, and I would like to believe I'm on that.
You're in there
I have
too.
a 20, 17, and 12, so I think about this a lot. What do you talk to them about it? St. Louis in particular? Do you, because as a leader, as an entrepreneur, I guarantee you've probably asked way more questions in your career than given speeches. Sure. So when you talk to your kids about this, what are you saying to them about here? Or is it even part of the conversation?
It's part of the conversation. I say it's a peripheral conversation, but it's, I mean, it's really more personal, quite honestly. It's like, hey, love to have you around.
Yeah.
we can do a lot for you.
But we need to find a gig.
Right. Yeah. And so, to be fair, a lot of this is organic. If you go to school in the Carolinas, you go to Wake Forest, you go to NC State, or you go to Chapel Hill, you might stay, right, when you graduate, right, because it's a cool area.
Yeah.
Some of that happens organically, right, and that's going on. I don't know that we have intentionality around trying to leave St. Louis. There's an angst in young people to try something different, to spread their wings, to go somewhere else, right? And that's always been there.
Which I think people should.
But are they coming back?
But do they boomerang
Are they
back?
coming back?
Yeah.
I don't have the answer.
Can we have a reason other than I would really love to be near my family? And I think that, this is the other reason I really wanted to have you on today, is that there's something going around that is accepted as though it's just this foregone conclusion and fate, which is you live in St. Louis, but you make your money elsewhere. That your business is done elsewhere, that your product is done elsewhere, and that it's the secret, incredible place to be, an incredible place to live and to raise the kids, but it's not happening here. And you were able to, in many ways, make it happen here. And so, it's just something that it's a story that I would love to see replicated, and instead of the one that we're leading and telling now. So
let me ask you this. Recently, there was a campaign that was rolled out, I Am St. Louis, which is kind of a super simple, let's feel good, here's our brand identity. What is that, right? When you think about St. Louis from a brand perspective, like if you were to come up with that little tagline or bumper sticker that is, I am St. Louis, what does that look like to you? What is the brand that should transcend and resonate in other markets to where they would get it?
That's a tough question.
I don't know that we know.
I don't know if I could have an alternative to I Am St. Louis. I think the effectiveness of those campaigns is highly dubious. Look, it starts with economics. We have to make the city safe, undeniably safe, and everyone understands in their bones that it's safe. Then you've got to incent development, right? I don't mean give away the tax base. I don't mean give away.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about giveaways here. I'm talking about
The
incentivization.
tax credit junkies, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, tax credits are a tool. They can be used. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I've always, because as a former real estate guy, a lot, this whole tax credit incentives, and I didn't partake. I morally, fundamentally was against it, but I view those types of activations as skin in the game.
yeah.
If you're the municipality and you want me to come in and you want me to put in a 4 flat or an 8 flat or a mixed use or whatever, and I know you have issues with crime, I know you have front page issues with your school system and all these other things, yet I'm going to build places that you claim we need families, but you're not helping me, right?
Right.
So I think there's nuance there.
There is.
That they've never been able to explain.
So crime, tax, what? Don't give away the farm. What else?
But you've got to get people living downtown. You've got to get them living downtown. And by the way, this is one of the nuances of the conversation that I think gets overlooked far too often. We're talking about expanding the corporate base. When I lived in Charlotte, when I moved to Charlotte in 1996. This is hard to believe now. And if you've been to Charlotte in the last 15 years, it's really hard to believe.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They rolled up the streets at 7 p.m. You could have fired a gun down Tryon, which is their main street, and you would not have hit anybody at 7 p.m. on any given night. One of the things they did is the largest culinary school in the country is Johnson in Wales. They put a campus, a high-rise campus in downtown St. Louis. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, you had 4,000.
You mean in downtown Charlotte?
I'm sorry, downtown Charlotte.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you had 4,000 or 5,000 20-somethings moving into downtown Charlotte.
And like chefs
Guess
and
what?
hospitality.
It was like lighting a powder keg. You right. All the things that
cool
follow.
people at that. Yeah.
Right. You and I have talked in the past about, it seems like restaurants, and it seems like there's no shortage of entrepreneurs willing to take the enormous risk of opening a restaurant.
The balls. Unbelievable.
If it's east of 170, it's got to be a 90% failure rate.
Yeah.
No one's going to visit downtown restaurants. They're going to be in their backyard to go eat. You've got to get residents downtown. So that has to be equal, if not a greater focus. We've got to get we've got negative population growth.
So two things on that. Number one,
aside from being embarrassing, that's devastating.
So the one thing on the population front that I've been thinking about, having kids at the age that they are, when we lose a family of 3 or 4 or 5 from predominantly North St. Louis, we know where the majority of the flight is coming from. It's north of Del Mar. These buildings are emptying. But we replace that family of 4 with a single young professional that is now in a $1,800 a month rent apartment in Soulard, making first-year wages of 90 to 110. And, there's this noise in what's going on, and we're looking at the whole numbers, right? Population's going down, but every time a tower goes up for residential purposes, it's full. They're full and they're getting filled. And here's the other thing too, talking about downtown. Like at some point you have to give in to things that might feel wrong for your culture for the sake of the long term. And the best example that I can think of right now is this absolute attack on short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO. Like as a traveler, as an avid traveler, that's what I use. I use it so I can get into the community and I can, for me, that's a test market. Like as I go around and travel and I'm 3, 4, 5 days in a VRBO in Lisbon or name the city, it doesn't matter. That's a test run, right? I don't need to see the inside of a Marriott to know what an inside of a Marriott looks like. And I think like that's something
and we don't have them.
Yeah, like downtown, and I get it. Sorry, Explorer and all you hoteliers, but at some point we need massing, and we're not getting that.
No.
And a lot of people also who have been commuting want to buy a place, and then when they're not here, they want to rent it out and Airbnb it.
It's good business.
And they can't. So you actually have a lot of people remotely who do not want to be staying in hotels anymore when they come into St. Louis to work. So it is a really big factor. But that's interesting. So you're a downtown as sort of the signal in the window. We gotta fill downtown.
Yeah, and it starts with population.
What about riverfront? When you think about it, we were joking earlier about the reality of the landing in the early '90s versus.
Yeah,
I don't even know what you call it today.
What was the daiquiri the frozen daiquiri place down there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They had a whole wall of frozen daiquiri. It was
frozen. Was that next to Morgan?
Booze drinks.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's now Narwhals, but that was a Columbia, Missouri.
I'm back in the 90s.
Yeah, but it was a daiquiri place that I think it had a sister place in Key West or something.
Yeah, it didn't belong.
Very New Orleans.
It was like a Mediterranean home on the
So
west.
So let's talk about that as we start to wrap up a little bit here. I asked you about branding. I mean, I think it's really hard. That is a tough question. What do you think from a cultural standpoint we do well? Food, beverage, art, fashion, music, etc. Is there anything that in particular that maybe jumps out to you that you are prideful of or surprised by that comes out of?
Look, I think by implication, I've kind of backward-handedly indicted the populace here for the things they've done wrong. So let me rectify that. The people here are absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the native-born West County white people. I'm talking about the entire community. This is a wonderful town. Everyone is so friendly, so helpful. I mean, it's the Midwest.
Yeah.
You were talking about branding. I don't know how effective a branding campaign can truly be at the end. Could it supplement? Could it help? Sure.
Yeah, they're fine.
But centering some forecast for success around a branding campaign is folly, in my opinion. But look, this is a great area to live because the people are wonderful, the culture is wonderful, and there's lots of it. And there are economic drivers here that make it a great place to live.
Speaking of driving, cars, golf, I know is something that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we?
I have a problem.
You can get there. The courses, the things that you can play.
There's great golf.
It takes 20. You don't have to give up 3 days. To go to a club. I mean, speaking of golf clubs, full circle, but like.
Well, we're coming full circle back to our original episode 1.
Yeah.
Will Eskay talking about the ability. Will Eskay's a friend from Mid-Atlantic, was a soccer guy, plays at Ambush. He's a club director, but he's not one of us, right? In a good way. And he pointed out, he's like, one of the things St. Louis can do, if you're here, he goes like, you can kind of be a Renaissance person.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ability to have hobbies.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hiking, biking, golf, all affordable, all close by. There's no traffic. I mean, all these things that we don't think about and or take for granted. The one thing that I have to say this because you've brought this up before. It's almost like the folks that have been here a long time and are maybe part of we'll call it the Ed Whitaker problem. We'll call it the SBC problem. Maybe they don't want anybody else here.
Yeah, I think that we need to think about
maybe
that.
in their heart of hearts, they just want it to stay the way it is.
I don't think that's a maybe. I think definitively there are people do not want to change. Because here's the other secret that we all know, but nobody really knows how to express. When you think about the concentration of wealth, there is massive, massive wealth in the city of St. Louis and the region. And those individuals, they don't give a shit about population decline. They'll never have to worry about it.
Well, the check's coming, if you're part of the legacy economy.
Correct.
And you have, what are we? We're number 2 in the world or in the country in unearned income per capita, which is a startling.
There's a feather in your cap.
Yeah, number 2.
Well, the funny thing is the majority of people.
So, but you have to really take on. You have to take on their perspective. And you have to ask if you didn't need it to live and you had a roof over your head and you were well resourced, why would you fill,
They like no traffic.
why would you fill Huntley with, 40,000 people if you didn't need it? We need it. I need it for, growth and for work and for, and to build. But if you didn't need to do that, you have to look at that perspective. And so, is it by design?
It is.
Do they do it on purpose? And do they want people to know? And I think that St. Louis really needs to have a conversation. Do you want to be found? Maybe you don't. Maybe they don't.
Yeah. I mean that's a
because it looks like you're screwing it up so badly. It looks like you're doing it on purpose.
It's like an awful Rorschach test. What do you see here? I see greatness.
But it is.
I see need.
It's a big
that's
head
a bird.
You're right.
It's not greatness. It's a bird.
It's like stop telling people about this neighborhood and don't flood us with population.
So let's rapid fire through some of the neighborhood / fun stuff, and then we'll be moving on here. Favorite neighborhood? Where do you like to go? Disappear, hang?
I know it's on the decline, and I'm waiting for it to rebound. But I've always loved, and I will always love the Central West End. I mean, I just think that it's the coolest area. For the longest time, when I had anyone visit from the Northeast, in particular New York, I would just take them there because it's like you kind of look around visually, and you're like, oh,
feels like Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm in one of the boroughs, and it's a little sad to go there now because. Again, what happened?
It's completely empty.
Why aren't there people there?
I know.
There were for long periods of time. But aesthetically and vibe-wise, prior to the recent demise, I love Central West End.
Eateries, where do you go get your burger?
I'm in De Pere at 270. I'm at the Village Bar.
Outstanding.
And there are so many. I mean, there's a.
Have you done? That's over 100. That's another 100-year plus.
I do know
establishment.
They saved it. There's a fun story behind. They were going
next to the wig shop, 270 in Manchester.
They were going to raise that building.
Oh my God!
And the way that the ownership and the community came together to foil the evil city council was they made it historic landmark.
A historic landmark.
So the distillery behind
the little barn in back
is a historic building, and that's a great spot.
And before we go, you also turned me on to a place. You were kind of early on the Creve Coeur Renaissance too.
Oh, sure.
As far as suburbs go, and then
that was the Hive. Everybody.
There was and that
Hive
sort of became
Ballas.
a blues bar. Like the blues players really started to enjoy that.
Well, I got to know Coach Berube. I got to know Chief at the Hive, and that was a frequent watering hole for him. And, that's a dive bar if there ever was one.
Yeah.
And but the food is better than it needs to be.
Incredibly good.
So
and people don't realize St. Louis, we still have those soulful, divey, genuine. They're not manufactured. Places, and that's
and they're actually affiliated. They're owned by the O'Briens, who own Obie Clark's in Brentwood.
Wow. Okay.
But they actually, that was an upgrade, food-wise and otherwise. They've done a great job.
Yeah.
So outside of eating and drinking at these wonderful establishments, free time, what do you do around here?
Yeah, I like to play golf. I'm a member out west, out at Old Hickory, which is the only
gorgeous club.
Course.
I had no idea it was there. It's a die course.
The benefit of it is a die course, and the benefit of being a member there is there are little to no assessments because the venue is the largest wedding reception venue in St. Charles County.
Because it's gorgeous.
And they bring in so much revenue that, we've had major course improvements in the last 4 years. No assessments to the members.
And have you played from the public and the public courses and the private courses?
Oh,
you
sure.
Probably got to see them all. For the golfers out there, what's it like?
Yeah, we could use some more good publics, in my opinion.
Really? Okay.
I'm looking forward to Normandy getting completed. That's a really big deal. I don't think everyone appreciates what a big deal that is. the USGA and Jack Nicklaus himself, and that's a really going to be an amazing place. On the Missouri side, I like the Bluffs, Missouri Bluffs out in Weldon Springs.
Yep.
I like what's down south there in Sunset, Tapawingo.
Tapawingo.
Yeah, still a great spot. 27 holes. There just needs to be more. Those places are full. Every place is full.
Are they getting full as a weight?
Yeah, and then 3 of the better courses are on the Illinois side. So, Ann Briar is probably the best public in the region, and Gateway National is an amazing golf course.
Oh, what hole is it where your tee box straight down the flats and the arch is?
You're literally aiming at the arch.
Yeah, it's pretty
like
cool.
The third hole. It's a par 5.
What is the infamous one? Very exclusive. Well, a couple that are going to be going down in southern Missouri. Is that?
You talking about down in Springfield?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tiger built his course down.
Yes. What's that? Do you remember the name? of that?
Payne Valley.
Payne Valley.
Yeah. I
Okay.
haven't played it.
Okay.
You've got $600 burning a hole in your pocket.
I turned every course into Payne Valley.
What's the one out by What's the one out by Peevely?
There's Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And what's the? There's 3 courses out there.
Yeah. Well.
It escapes me.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Good
wonderful
publics. Yeah.
And then is the people want to know all the time, St. Louis Country Club, speaking of which, Belle Reve, Old Warson, are they as
all
magnificent?
amazing courses.
Are they?
St. Louis Country Club is truly the best course in town.
Maybe that's why Ed wanted to join.
Maybe. Yeah. It's a great golf course.
Yeah.
The hidden gem of the region, from if you're including privates, is probably Meadowbrook.
Yep. That's the golfers club. That's where
people
it's,
that know
it's
golf.
hard. That's where
Hard. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's all of the things.
where people who are really good want to play.
Yeah.
In Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
Now that I heard is a waiting list and hard as hell to get into. Now.
Well,
is it because of that?
I've known members that say it's hard to get a tee time.
It's hard to get a tee time.
Yeah, which sucks if you're paying monthly dues to a golf course and
Yeah.
you can't. Kind of the point is so you can play it.
So interestingly, we need more.
Oh, we could use some more golf. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Everybody likes golf.
Norwood Hills is amazing. It's
Yeah.
another great.
Is that 36 or
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The East and the West. The West is as good of a championship golf course. Well, they play an event there.
Is Greenbrier still around?
Greenbrier's still around.
Yeah.
Right there off Big Bend.
And then Westboro, is that, or it's a short course?
Berry Road is
Yeah.
Westboro and Algonquin.
Right by Algonquin, yeah.
I like to tell people there's clubs where they golf and they happen to have a bar, and then there's clubs where they drink and they happen to play golf.
Happen to have a golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that the membership at Westboro is younger now. And,
yeah, that it's
and
like
vibrant.
30 somethings. Yeah. It's an awesome, and to think about what that would be on the East Coast or on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I deal with people every day who think that the initiation fee starts at $250,000,
Right.
and that nobody their age would, in their worlds, would ever
to
be part of
consider
a
that.
club.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
See,
under 40 and junior memberships, if you want to be part of a country club, there's one. Our provincial caste system world, there's some assets there, and if people know how to spin them and work them, people from around the country would love to be a part of, because we have them at all levels. We have upstarts, historic, old, new. It's a huge thing that I don't think anybody really knows about outside of this community.
Or you could come to Hilltop in South City and meet me there, and we'll play Golden Tee 15.
Hell yeah.
Classic courses. Bucket of Bush.
I have a golden tee in my basement.
Hey, let's get out
Thanks,
here.
Jim.
On the way out here, I also heard you're a car guy. What's your you pick one, Desert Island. What's your go-to?
I've got the last made American muscle car. I've got a 2023 Dodge Challenger. It's convertible, and it was one of the 500 made. It's called a Shakedown.
Yeah.
It's a 6-speed, 500 horse, and it's a lot of fun.
I love that. We're car junkies. My 12-year-old, his favorite show in the world is Top Gear and anything Jeremy Clarkson.
Absolutely.
So I love it. Well, hey, B-Side STL. Jim Goebel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Been a
Seriously,
blast.
thanks.
Mr. Bartlett, well done. The whole flu, coldy, sinusy thing.
Yeah,
it played out well.
It's like a flu all the time. Yeah.
I think people, it's rich.
I'll try to
supple. We're on our way out here. I'm gonna roll us out with a little Dana Michael Anderson, Mountain, St. Louis proud. Until next time,
Thanks.
B-Side STL.
Welcome home. We'll see you next week.
See you, people.